And good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. I am Ethan Greenberg, and I'm here with my co-host, Madison Delaney, and joining us here this evening is Anna from the Columbus area to give us her views and opinions and hot takes here on what has her going nuclear and all things sports related. We're grateful to have Anna along with us. How is everybody doing this evening? How did Thanksgiving treat everybody?
Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry. Thank you so much for asking me to come on. I'm very flattered. Thanksgiving was wonderful. We celebrated with my boyfriend's kids. They came home from college. Unfortunately, my Thanksgiving weekend ended in a positive COVID test. So that's why I still sound kind of hoarse from that. But I am hopeful that I'm on the up and up and will do well. But everything was good.
Fantastic. Madison, how about you? How's everything going down there in North Carolina? Did you spend time with your parents, etc.?
Yeah, it was pretty low key. It was just my parents and I. My sister was supposed to work, ended up getting Thanksgiving off, so she ended up hosting a Friendsgiving since they couldn't travel. So they got to do their thing, at least still, and they were surrounded by people. But yeah, it was just us, the dogs, just hanging out, doing a lot of walking, getting our steps in after all that turkey.
Real nice, real nice. Well, that is good to hear. It was relatively, calm, quiet around here. Had my in-laws in town, so I enjoyed the holiday weekend. I definitely enjoyed that. Did you guys hit up any Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, anything like that? Madison, you're nodding. Yeah,
Online for sure. I would never go in person now. It's just too hectic. It's too easy to hit, add to cart, just go ahead and ship it, and it's there the next day. It's too easy.
Now, did you find any good deals? That's the question, though.
I mean, it depends on your definition of deals. If I found stuff that probably was originally priced that was marked up to be discounted to that price, probably. That's more likely, I think.
Okay, I got you. Anna, I know you got ill. It kind of shut down your weekend, but hey, computer access. Did you feel like shopping online, shopping till you drop?
Absolutely not. My inbox was full all weekend of Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, and I was deleting throughout the day. It was quite annoying. I probably will do any Christmas shopping that I need to do closer to Christmas because I feel like I tend to shop for myself during Black Friday more than for other people. But my list of people to shop for, thankfully, is small. But yeah, my main focus was sleeping as much as possible or watching whatever binge-worthy show on Netflix that I could fall in and out of sleep to. So
I gotcha. Well, I found that, throughout the years, even before I had kids and as an adult, for a while there, Black Friday, we had some friends when I moved down here. They were all about going out and standing in line at Kohl's for the Black Friday deals. And I'm like, actually, when you think about it, most of the stuff that was like really bargain, stuff at like Kohl's and whatnot was the products are terrible. They're terrible. I'm like, what am I doing? And now everything's online, so no worry about that. But I'll tell you what, nothing better than having kids. Let me tell you why. All right. So I go out with my wife on Friday, not to shop for, anything in particular, just grocery shopping, right? So we go to BJ's. We got a membership to BJ's. And we go in there, and I had kind of been looking to see, as you're all aware, probably flat panel TVs. They put the speakers on the back. And I was like, it would be nice if I could find a deal on a sound bar or whatever it is. So I found a nice sound bar with a subwoofer. I'm like, okay, cool. It was on sale. It happened to be on sale. It was a Black Friday deal. I'm like, all right, great. This is good. So we come home, and I set this thing up, right? And my daughter comes downstairs. My daughter's 10 years old. And um, she's like, "What's that?" And we explain it to her. She's like, "Why'd you get that? I really don't think that was necessary." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's a way to bring me down a few notches." Once again, being told that I just frivolously spent money here. That was no good. I wasn't exactly so excited about that. But yeah, always fun Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, etc. And Anna and Madison, it's like when you're not shopping for kids is like the biggest thing I think or found, um, shopping during the holiday season. Other than that, there was really no reason to go to the store, and so, yeah, eh, like you said, good that you have a small list. Good that you have a small list. So, Anna, you're down in the Columbus area,
Mhm.
and so we had I would say that my sports weekend started going horribly wrong on Saturday at noon. First, I watched Ohio State, Michigan, and that
Mhm.
sucked. Then Sunday strikes. I watched my English Premier League soccer team, Tottenham Hotspur. Sunday morning, they took a dump. Then Sunday afternoon, the Browns took a dump. I mean, then Kent State men's basketball took a dump. So I was not feeling it for the sports weekend. Fortunately, our Cavs, hey, they busted out a win Sunday night to
But
salvage.
they did lose. Was it Friday or Saturday?
Yes,
Which
you're right. That was also on the Saturday agenda. Yes,
yeah.
I almost left that off the cracktacular list. Um, so down in Columbus, I know Anna, you're a Hoosier,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you went to Indiana. I almost went to Indiana. Ultimately decided to stay closer to home, go to Kent State.
Mhm.
But so you're familiar with the Big Ten. You're familiar with the
Yep.
rivalries.
Yep.
and and also being in Columbus and with your spouse working at the sports radio in Columbus, what, if any, sense did you get around the area, if any at all, um, down there, either directly or indirectly, about Ohio State's game against Michigan and the fallout from it?
I mean, there's always hype around this game. It's the game as it's promoted. I know, speaking from my boyfriend's standpoint from work, the previous 2 weeks were really busy, with all of, the promotions, all the prep, the shows, all that stuff. I mean, it's a big game. It's a big hype game, even though it was an away game. But I feel like there was not any, like, I don't know, the confidence wasn't there. I feel like people were unsure if Ohio State was going to win or not. I mean, two undefeated teams coming in head to head to kind of basically go to the Big Ten championship game. Um, so I mean, I feel like the confidence with the quarterback, the offense hasn't always been there. The defense has always been strong. I feel like all year. So that's kind of the sense I got from it. I mean, I didn't watch the game at all. My Hoosiers played their rival Purdue, same time slot, and it was an actually really close game. Unfortunately, they ended up losing by, I think it was like 3 points. Um, so I did listen till like the final probably 10 seconds on the radio of the Ohio State Michigan game because I saw that it was close. And you know, selfishly, I kind of wanted Ohio State to lose, but it was for personal reasons because Matt would have been going to Indianapolis this weekend for the Big Ten championship and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I'm ready for football season to be over with, but whatever, that's beside the point. I always joke, I have a lot of friends who are huge Ohio State fans. Some of them did go to Ohio State, so I understand that loyalty for your school, for your team. The Ohio people who are just ride or die, like their happiness for the rest of the weekend, whatever, they are just so crazy about it. I don't understand that fandom. Like, that boggles my mind. Like, sometimes just the hatred that comes out from people. So I don't, for those types of fans, they kind of spoil wanting to like see Ohio State do well for me. But I mean, I can understand the disappointment. It's the game. You know, you're expected to be this elite football program, and the expectation is to beat Michigan every year, to be a contender for the national championship every year. I totally get that because that is the history of the Ohio State program. You know, my football, you know, my college, our football program, we're not a football school. You know, we just want to get to a bowl game. We want to have a winning record. We want to have a, you know, we want to win games in the Big Ten. Like the goals are different. So, listening to the show, the one afternoon show here on Monday, I jokingly call it the man show, but they literally went on a rant for like ever. And I told Matt I had to turn the radio off. I already had a headache, and the guy was just so angry. He was just like yell talking. I just had to turn it off. And I'm like, you guys lost one game and you're crying. Like, it's just funny to me.
Right. Madison, I know you're a disinterested third party when it comes to Ohio State. But other than the neighbors with the blaring of the Ohio State fight song, you know, to the Michigan fans and stuff, and that's classic. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your takeaway from the game, and as it pertains to the program, the direction they're going in under Ryan Day?
Yeah. I do feel like I have like a relational point, right? Because, you know, I went to Randolph-Macon, our rival. It's a men's school, so not my particular rival, but our school's rival is Hampden-Sydney. And it's the same. I mean, we call it the game. It's the oldest rivalry in the South down here. It's not much of a rivalry lately. I think we've won 10 straight football games. Like, it's something crazy. But I understand the point of like the only game that matters on your schedule is that one. And that used to be like when I was in school, is because, you know, both teams are good. Hampden-Sydney hasn't, I mean, they're okay, but they haven't been like undefeated going into that game with Macon, last game of the regular season, similar to Michigan, Ohio State. But we do have that clock up on that coach's office wall where it's counting down to the game. There's no like, when does the season start? It is, when does the game start? So I do get that, and I understand like you have to win those games. It feels crazy though as a coach to be like, you got to fire this guy because, you know, he's lost, like he's 1-6 in games that really, really mattered to them, right, where it's Michigan or it's college football playoff. So I do get that. And like the expectation is the expectation, right? So in my opinion, his biggest downfall is like, you clearly never trusted McCord. You never went and got a quarterback in the portal. And there's about 1 million transfer quarterbacks in the portal right now that are killing it on their teams. So I feel like if you knew you didn't trust him, you should have gone and got somebody, you know, somebody else that you liked more. And I'm assuming they will do that next year.
Right. And my thing with the whole game, first of all, I did in fact take it. One of the reasons I got the sound bar, and this does relate to Ohio State Michigan, is that I can't listen to Gus Johnson.
I was going to say, you want to hear those announcers you love so much more better.
That's right. So what I did is I synced up, even though I was a little bit behind. I synced up the video with the audio stream via SiriusXM of the Buckeyes broadcast. I listened to Paul Keels, and he's amazing. He's just an amazing broadcaster. And I was like, I don't care if I'm a minute or two behind. I'm listening to this. I'm not listening to that loudmouth Gus Johnson. He's a sensationalist, and I'm not down with that. It's especially painful. It's painful normally. But then when it's your team and your team is struggling, it's really painful. So I don't want to hear it. I'm out on that. I'd rather listen to my guy. So I did sync it up there with Paul Keels. And obviously it's disappointing that they've lost 3 years in a row. And it comes after such a great period under Jim Tressel and then Urban Meyer, and just dominating the series. And that came after the 90s, the stretch in the 90s under John Cooper, when they couldn't beat Michigan. He went 2-9-1. They had, and that was before the bowl championship series. It was before the college football playoffs came about. So you could, if you went undefeated, you were in the AP poll, you're in the USA Today, the coaches poll, and then you could go to the Rose Bowl. If you're the Big Ten champion, there was no Big Ten championship game. And win, and you win a national championship. Well, with that in mind, you come in undefeated to take on Michigan. with Mike Vrabel and a stacked defensive line, a stacked defense, and you can't pull it off year after year after year. You get crushed by Michigan, and that's what it feels like to me as an Ohio State fan. And so that's why I am concerned. I'm concerned that Ryan Day hasn't struck the right balance of the right players. And he obviously has very talented players, but the right type of player and the psychological part of it being emotional and into the game and focused on it and ready to go out there and win at all costs without going over the top where you're out of control. And I guess at least from that perspective, I mean, we didn't see any brawls. I don't know what the over-under was on number of fights that might break out, people going, getting kicked out of the game, flipping the double birds to people in the stands. We've seen some things there. But it was especially a bad look given all that was going on in the realm of the Michigan coaching staff and the Jim Harbaugh thing and the sign stealing scandal. It was really bad and a bad look for Ryan Day. I can see the either side of keeping him. For one, if we had a guarantee we could bring someone in, I know the hot name is Mike Vrabel. If we could steal him away, if they could bring in Mike Vrabel, that's one thing. I would be like, wow, that's fantastic. If Urban Meyer said, I want to come back, even though he was a terrible professional coach for the Jaguars, he was awful. He's a good college coach. He's a very good college coach.
He's got some stuff going on.
And I know that. I understand the personal. I'm just saying from a coaching perspective, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So unless they're going to have somebody like that, I don't necessarily want to roll the dice. And let's hope that they can keep attracting talent. They certainly should be able to. They've got to get a little bit of an upgrade at quarterback. I know they've got a couple guys, but we'll see.
Would you want Coach Prime?
Heck no. No, I do not want him. He's a circus. He's a media circus. They went 4-8. He comes in there. They're good for like 2 weeks. Everyone's
He's
in
been there
Colorado.
for a year. He's not going to turn it around in 1 year.
Yeah,
but he's bringing his luggage, and it's Louis.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't like his flashy attitude. Okay. I want someone to come in there and coach. I don't want them to be the story.
Well, I feel like you would get that with Urban Meyer if he came back, because he kind of unraveled after he left Ohio State. So he would definitely be a liability.
True.
I would want him around college females personally.
And I get it. I understand. But let me ask you guys this. Now, Madison, you mentioned the parallel between Randolph-Macon, Hampton-Sydney, and Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
And Anna, what in at Indiana, let's say it was in basketball, it was for all the marbles every year.
Yeah.
Indiana, Purdue. And you had a coach that could not beat Purdue. You won all these other games, but when it came time to win the Big Ten title, and you're up against Purdue and Purdue kicks your butt, how long of a leash do you give? Madison, how long of a leash do you give the guy at Randolph-Macon if they can't beat Hampton-Sydney? I don't know. I'll let either one of you chime in on your thoughts on where you stand if it were a position, obviously at your school.
I mean, first of all, you're comparing basketball to football when it comes to playoffs. It's apples to oranges. I have a huge problem with college football playoff schemes. It's so biased, and that's another story. But I mean, I feel like for basketball, the ultimate goal for Indiana for the longest time was making it to the tournament, because they had a serious drought with the 5 national championships. That's the expectation that the tournament is a given every year. So that was a huge issue, like in the past with a lot of the coaches. I mean, if it was structured similar to football, I mean, I guess eventually if, it came down to beating Purdue and that we didn't make it to the next, level, then yeah, I'm sure eventually that would, people would be calling for the coach's head. But I feel like at Indiana, if you're not, perfect, and or at least the basketball realm every year they're calling for the coach's head. Thankfully, I don't really feel like anybody's calling for Coach Woodson's head at this point. I think he's,
Right.
still finding his footing in the college realm, and I think he's doing a good job. So it's just
I got you.
It's apples to oranges.
It is. It is.
When you compare the sports, but I mean, yeah, you definitely want to beat your biggest rival for sure. But I guess I've never understood the rival between Ohio State and Michigan. They're out of state teams. Most of your rivals are your in-state rivalry. I understand that Ohio State doesn't have a conference rival in the state of Ohio, but it still like baffles to me. The Indiana-Purdue football rivalry is like the second oldest rivalry in college football. I mean, they just played their 98th Old Oaken Bucket game, which I didn't realize it was that old. And the first game was a tie. So the first link, they put links on a chain of the Old Oaken Bucket, and it was an I and a P welded together. So
nice. And Madison, as we talked about football, how long of a leash would you give a coach at Randolph-Macon if
Coach
they were?
Ariza.
Because Randolph-Macon, because the ODAC, your conference, might only get and I know
no, they only get one bid. I mean,
Right,
football it's different for D3 because they do have a tournament. So right now we've won the second round. We're into the quarterfinals for a national championship. But yeah, one loss pretty much dooms you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even fathom because we haven't lost to Hampton-Sydney in so long.
Right. There you go.
But I will lean on Carolina Duke. And I will go with the basketball. Like even in basketball, like I care more if we beat Duke almost than if we like won an ACC championship. I won't say an NCAA championship because that's obviously above all. But like if we beat Duke both times in a year, it's a good year. I don't care what the record was. It's a good year. So for that, like I will only give you so much leeway. He's already a little bit on shaky ground, although he had a good game yesterday. So which I had to watch on my phone because I didn't have Wi-Fi. But it's okay. Then I was superstitious. I got it back and I couldn't go to the TV because I was like, we're up by 20. I cannot switch this now. So it worked out. We ended up winning. But yeah, I mean, Hubert Davis has to beat Duke. So that's I mean, you get maybe a season or two in basketball. You maybe get a little bit longer than football, but you got to beat them.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So obviously, there will be a lot more going on in college football this weekend with all the championships and see where everything's going to fall. And then you get to determine after that who's going to the who gives a crap bowls, Anyway, so moving along here. On Sunday, Browns at Denver, not so pretty. Not so pretty. We end up coming out of there hobbled. You have DTR getting knocked out. PJ Walker was the only other dressed quarterback, and he did not look very good. Myles Garrett leaves, can't lift his arm up to put his shirt on. And Denzel Ward's not playing. Things did not go very well in the Mile High City. The one bright spot I saw was Cedric Tillman had 4 catches. So that was nice. And, it's one loss. I'm not going to have this overreaction. I don't know about you guys, but everybody was going absolutely crazy about the Stefanski reverse call and that the fumble. But let's face it, that while I think we're a little bit frustrated with the quote unquote gadget plays, trick plays that don't seem to work, as a fan base, and everyone can jump on Coach Stefanski. What about the defense? The defense comes out there, lets Russell Wilson go right down the field. I mean, you got to stop the guys. What was going on with that? So for everybody that's ticked off or was ticked off about this gadget play and the fumble, let's talk about the defense here. But out of that game, again, we're coming up a little bit, hobbled. Madison, what were your takeaways from the Denver game, and how hopeful are you if Flacco? It looks like Flacco is going to be under center in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought DTR played pretty well, which I don't know. I mean, it didn't feel like everyone had that shared viewpoint, but I mean, he did have some drop passes, which there is an adjustment, I guess, like different velocity on the ball, that kind of thing, I guess. So it was unfortunate, but he was starting to string some plays together and stuff that you really wanted to see, and then it sucks that, of course, he got knocked out of the game. So I mean. Flacco start like I don't think I want to start DTR on no practice all week, even if he's
Right.
cleared to go. I mean, more than likely, I don't want to. We saw no, I mean, even though he practiced with the ones, but he wasn't prepared to go, I guess. And we saw what that looked like. So I think it's fine to, it's like maybe a trial run for Flacco, right? Like if he looks great, you don't need to go back to DTR. You keep Flacco in there. If he doesn't look good, you have a real reason to go back to DTR without it being like, any big hope. I mean, it'll be a storyline, of course. We're Cleveland, of course. It's a storyline. No matter what, we will turn it into one. But yeah, I mean, the defense giving up 14-point leads is not a great thing on the road too. Apparently, that's our thing. Which we have another road game this week, so it'd be nice to turn that around.
Gotcha, Anna. What did you think about the game? I know you were under the weather, but
Yeah, I can honestly say I maybe watched a little bit of the first quarter. I
wouldn't blame you for falling asleep.
I honestly I had to watch it on my phone because I was logged in through the Fox Sports app, but couldn't get it to log in on my computer. And I was in the bedroom isolated from everybody else. I couldn't watch it. We don't have a TV in our bedroom. So watching the defense get back-to-back penalties when they haven't, like pretty much all season, I was like, what is going on with this defense? This is uncharacteristic of them. So that is really the most I remember of the game. I didn't watch any of the second half. I didn't see Miles leave. I didn't see DTR leave, like nothing. And I know we're already banged up pretty bad. So,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see Flacco, under center, obviously, if he, is there on Sunday, if DTR doesn't clear concussion protocol before then. Yes, thank you. But I mean, just add him to the list of Cleveland starting quarterbacks. But hopefully at least he'll do well and connect well with our receivers. I would really like to see Amari Cooper, get some more involvement and everything like that too. We've got to mix it up with the passing and the running.
And he practiced today, so that's positive.
Yeah,
positive injury news for once.
Yes.
That is. And on that front, okay, so first of all, the penalties that tick me off the most are lining up in the stupid neutral zone.
Yeah.
How do you not know? You're looking at the ball.
I do think they do that a lot, though, and they don't normally get called. So when you get away with it.
Okay. So what is it? The fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you, then fool.
Yeah,
me
I'm just.
I know. So you talked about the injury report, and I want to get into that because yesterday I got a little bit heated, as Madison you can attest to, because I'm texting you. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
So the Mary Kay Cabot story comes out where on Monday, Kevin Stefanski comes out and says what he answered a question to was a 2-part question. And one of the parts was, are there any structural issues? And can he play? Is it just a matter of pain tolerance? And I'm obviously paraphrasing. Stefanski said, there's no structural issues. Yeah, we'll see how he does, blah, blah, can play. So then Mary Kay talks to a doctor, a source, a doctor she can go to an interview, and says it's likely he had a structural injury. Well, then you got people who are calling the Browns liars and ticked off with them because of the way everything was handled with the Deshaun Watson situation. And I'm going, look, he didn't lie in how he answered the question. He answered the question appropriately. 1. 2, they owe us nothing. They don't owe us, the public, anything about revealing what exactly is going on with the injuries. They're doing the public a solid by talking. Yeah, maybe they need to choose their words more carefully, but they owe us nothing. The only thing they have a responsibility to do, is to accurately fill out the injury report, unlike what the Cincinnati Bengals did about Joe Burrow, because that really looks like he he had a problem, and they didn't disclose that. That's kind of messed up, and I feel bad for anybody who bet on the Bengals. Hopefully they got some kind of a refund on their bets. But I am really, really disturbed by people jumping all over the place and getting upset and crying foul on the Browns or any other sports organization for the way they report injuries and what they said. And I don't have a problem with the reporting of Mary Kay Cabot. Because she didn't say anything. She just said, look, she's investigating it. She took an angle to it, and I don't think that that's a problem. So I'm just kind of frustrated. I don't know. And today he's walking around and, he's doing push-ups. He wasn't wearing a sling yesterday. And so maybe there is some stuff going on, but, it seems like he's going to tough it out. And it seems like much ado about nothing, in the grander scheme of things. I don't know what you guys think. Anna, you've been around this a long time, and then Madison, what are your thoughts about the reporting of injuries, and in this instance, Kevin Stefanski's press conference?
I mean, I can be honest, I didn't read the report. I feel like I saw little bits of mumbling, but I feel like Browns fans, especially on Twitter, are just gripe and complain about everything. I mean, I can understand the misinformation that was from the Deshaun Watson debacle. I get it.
Right.
But, it sounds from what you said, Stefanski answered the question probably based on the information he was given. So, I mean, he can't speak to something that he doesn't know. So, did he know if he had, Garrett had structural damage? Who knows? He was just answering the question. I mean, Mary was doing, her job as a journalist to kind of, talk to somebody else, especially
Yes.
based on what happened with Deshaun earlier in the season and, misinformation. So, I mean, she's just doing her due diligence. And I know people tend to, she's a hot topic too. Bless her heart for, having to deal with that. But, you have thick skin when you're in that field. So, and I feel like too, people get up in arms about that stuff too, because you mentioned with, the Joe Burrow injury, people are so into their bets and betting, and then it screws with their livelihood. And they make too much out of it. Yeah, obviously this person is hurt, and we, want to care for them as a person first, because that's what they are. They're an athlete second. So, but
I got you. Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of how I feel on it with, the injury report is the injury report. It sucks to see somebody get injured because we've suffered so many critical players getting injured this season that has impacted our season.
Right. Madison, I don't know. What was your take on it? Because I know you had some mixed responses. You'd posted on Twitter when you saw Mary Kay's article. After you had a chance to read it, what'd you come away with it from it?
Yeah, I usually do not have a problem with Mary Kay, but I thought that was too speculative. And
Right.
I do think it's interesting that Miles came out with no sling today. I argue it's probably in direct response. Like, I think he probably would have been in a sling otherwise, but he's like trying to deny that this report is true. What I think happened is that she probably has a source that does know information that she cannot reveal, and so she's doing it in a speculative way. But the way the headline was written, saying it kind of suggested that it was definitive that there was structural damage, and the way the article was written was that it's an opinion of a doctor that has never reviewed his imaging. And so, like, that's where I had a bit of an issue with it. And I normally do appreciate what she does, and I still appreciate what she does. But like that one, I was like, I feel like maybe we swung a little too far on that one, and maybe should have dialed it back. But I mean, I will say personally, I have thought I've torn something in my knee multiple times, thought I felt a pop. MRI revealed nothing, like just some cartilage damage, nothing serious that I thought I had done. So like to say like, well, he said he felt a pop, I think is a bit of a stretch to go to like, well, he said he felt it, so he must have like actually felt it. That is potentially not true. Like sometimes you feel like you've done an injury that you didn't actually do, but in the moment it hurts. And so, it is what it is.
Right. Now, Anna, we were just talking about Mary Kay Cabot, and you mentioned about having to have a thick skin in that business there. And you were in the Cleveland market, and you were around, and you probably maybe interacted or met Tony Grossi. He is not exactly well received by some in the Cleveland market, to put it nicely. I mean, you know, now I guess I should ask you, did you ever get a chance to really talk to him, or in just in passing?
I was introduced to him in passing once, and that was it. I never really
Okay.
had any interaction with him. But I do know that he is a very polarizing person in the Cleveland market. So, but I mean, he's been in the business forever. Like, he's kind of earned his right to have his opinion, obviously reporting, but having his opinion as well. I feel like the longer you're in it and you do your job well and you're credible, you have a right to somewhat of an opinion.
Right, right, right. And so that kind of, with it, given that you've only met him very briefly on that one occasion, that kind of ends that, my second question. But you talked about something else I was thinking about, and this story has come up, very recently. The report about Sports Illustrated having AI generated articles and creating uh, profiles for people that write these articles is absolutely disturbing and disgusting to me as a journalism student. And I feel like this is terrible. What is going on with our media that they don't want to pay people to actually go out and do a job? I know, first of all, there's wire reporters in Cleveland. There's Tom Withers,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get their stories and they distribute it for everybody. I just don't understand what is going on, that we are having such problems. And that brings me to another thought and point, and I will scream it to the top of my lungs. Just because you're a former athlete does not mean you should automatically get a broadcasting job. Mark Sanchez, Captain Butt Fumble,
Oh, we get him
is
again.
oh, and so that is again where I'm going to have to sync up the game to whatever the Cleveland broadcast is. I'm really hoping. I guess it's probably not going to be Jim Donovan in the booth.
Yeah, I was surprised. I guess he's not traveling.
And that's possible. We'd have to talk to other folks and find that out. I tried to, ask Nathan Zagura via Twitter, because I'd like to know. I'm not a huge fan of Jeff Phelps. Even last year, I'm just not a huge fan of his. But again, how in the world are they vetting these people? A, they're incompetent boobs. They're not impartial. They show their bias. If you're doing a national broadcast, you need to be impartial. You need to know the players. They were talking about a couple weeks ago. I think it was when Ian Eagle and maybe Charles Davis were on the call for the Browns game, and he couldn't pronounce JOK's name. Like Owusu Koromora. I can't, and he kept calling DTR DRT. Hey, we got
What
dirt.
is that?
We got dirt back at back at quarterback there. And so I think, just as a broadcaster, am I wrong to be as outraged as I am about these things? Am I overreacting?
I don't think so. Matt, I made a comment about, former athletes getting these TV jobs. I think more so not calling the game, but kind of the pregame, halftime, postgame things. And I think it was one where Gronk was on there. And I was like, that guy is the biggest doofus. Like, he's a pretty face, but who gave him the opportunity to be on television? I mean, some of these guys are really competent.
Yeah.
And really great. But some of them, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know, Madison, you've heard me rant about these things. Am I off base?
I mean, you give one player a chance, and when one does well, you're like, the next one's going to do well. And then it's been a streak of not. I mean, Tony Romo was great the first year, and he's been a little not so great lately, right? Like, he was good. He was predicting every play. Sounds like Patrick Mahomes, he just needs to do it. I listen to the Manning cast personally, though. I will admit to that, when it's not a game I care about. If it's just a game I'm watching on a Monday night and there's not, like, the Browns aren't playing, I'm like, let me watch the Manning cast. Let's see what they got going on. Because they're funny, because they are honest. I think they're drinking alcohol at the time, so that's probably why they're more honest. And, they don't have the same restrictions. So I will say I do like the Manning cast. All the other, player commentator people I can maybe do without.
Right. And I think there's that level of broadcasting acumen and training and knowing when to speak up, when to not say anything. I read somebody who was complaining about Nathan Zagura.
Oh.
And I responded to him and I said, look, buddy, maybe he's not Doug Deacon. Doug Deacon's a legend in Cleveland, right? If you go on Sirius XM and you listen to the radio broadcasts of other teams around the nation, around the country, and around the NFL, you're going to be thanking the Lord you've got Nathan Zagura, because the bungling idiots I've heard make me sick. They absolutely make it. When I first moved down to Richmond, I didn't have the satellite radio. I would be, if I was out on a Sunday and I happened to turn on Washington's game, it was Sonny Jurgensen. He was a legend for Washington. He was the biggest mushmouth goofball I had ever heard. I don't know what he was talking about. I wanted to put cotton in my ears or rip my eardrums out, whatever it took to not have to hear him. I couldn't take it. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating because, and Matt can, Anna, Matt can probably attest to this. As you said, he sees radio professionals on a daily basis. He's worked with them for many years.
Yep.
And to do that, you can't just be some jabroni.
Right.
It really, it takes some skill. And I'm not saying I'm that guy and I'm that good, but there's a big difference. And when you grow up and being in the Cleveland market, we've been especially spoiled.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because for the longest time with Joe Tate and having Tom Hamilton and Jim Donovan and the people that came before him, Nev Chandler, Casey Coleman, just all phenomenal broadcasters. So, and then at Ohio State, Paul Keels, of course. So I digress there. So Cavs back in action tonight, hosting Portland, a chance to string together another victory, get their third in a row. They're up to 10-8. This would be their high water mark of the season. If they win tonight, they'll be 3 games over 500. The standings are kind of clogged up here. They're four out of the top, which is Boston, and they're by far and away right now the best team in the Eastern Conference. And then you got Orlando at 13-5, Milwaukee at 13-5, and Philly at 12-6. They're kind of surprising, surprising a lot of folks, I would say. What do you guys think? Do you think that the Cavs, the injuries are starting to kind of go off the board and things are trending in the right direction? Madison, I'll let you provide your insights.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like injuries are going away, but I'm also kind of in the back of my head, like, are they really? Like, Mitchell did not look good at the end of the game, and then he played a back-to-back, which I thought was a little bizarre, especially coming off of, I think he had a hamstring injury. Garland obviously had, I guess they called it a strained neck. He looked concussed on the bench, though. He looked very, very out of it. It was not like we were sitting there at the house saying, like, he doesn't look okay. And then he went back in, and then thankfully they at least took him out. But of course he played the next day. And, obviously we have a couple more people that are out still. But, we've found a way. I think he found a little bit with Craig Porter, although he didn't play a ton of minutes in the last couple games, which I thought was a bit odd. I mean, it is hard to find him minutes when Garland and Mitchell are both out there on the floor. But you're starting to see a little bit of the meshing together that I think you were wanting to see. And the play-in tournament, the last one where everybody was trying to run up the score, was kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. I kind of liked it.
Real nice. Anna, what about you? What are you seeing in the early season from the Cavs? You've always got you've got your mug out when they win.
Yeah, I do. And it makes me kind of sad. I mean, we're still within the Valley Network, but I've been having some challenges viewing some of the games, and I know I can listen to it through the Cavs app. It's just basketball is not one of my favorite sports to listen to on the radio. I'm very much a visual person, so because basketball is my
That's your jam.
That's my jam. Basketball is my jam. If you couldn't tell, being a Hoosier, but I feel like there was a lot of expectations, coming back. I feel like there's always expectations starting the season, and it's hard when you have, key players coming up with injuries, and you have some new people too. But I feel like they're just starting to gel. I feel like expectations are always so high in the beginning, and we're expecting them to be like off the jump perfect, like, taking off. But it's nice to see them starting to get some wins together. It definitely was rocky in the beginning, but hopefully we can see some more wins and stay, healthy. It just is hard because it's such a long season for everybody to stay healthy.
Right. And I don't know. So, okay. Cavs don't get into the elimination portion of the NBA in-season tournament. As it's now progressing and as we've seen it so far, this is going to be a bonus item because we're going to go on to this segment next, and I'm going to put it up right now. We're going to go yay or oy vey.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yay or oy vey. NBA in-season tournament, Madison. Yay or oy vey?
I am a hard yay because it was a lot of fun because everyone was trying to run up the score. I mean, you had like a couple of like 20, 25, 30-point games where everybody's like, starters are in with the winning team. The other team has already taken their starters out. And it was just kind of fun to see them. Like, I mean, what I need is a counter though. You got to tell me how many points we need to score and be winning by to advance. That's what I need. So next time, NBA, take my note, please.
There you go. Now, Anna, if you catch the drift here, you down with the with the yay on the in-season tournament or an oy vey for you where you're like, nah.
I'm gonna say oy vey. I feel like I don't even understand how it works, and everything like that. And I'm sure I know this has been talked about plenty of times, especially on social media. The courts were hideous. Like ours were great, but the Pacers court, hideous. So yeah, I'm an oy vey. No.
She makes a good point. I would like to change mine to a caveat yay, where the courts are different. That is a great, excellent point.
Very good. Yeah, I would say I'm going to agree with both of you guys. The courts were awful. All they actually need to do is keep the normal courts, but add the trophy logo, how they did in the paint and at center court, and that would be perfect. You would then know that denoted a in-season tournament game. And
just dim it down,
it was way too loud. My retinas were burned.
God, it was terrible.
It was awful.
It was nice that it gave the opportunity for like the city jerseys to be like on display because ours are hit. I don't really have an opinion of this year's. They're okay. Yeah. Some of the other teams I really do like, but I liked that. But I guess I just don't understand the concept of how it fits in with the regular season and then the postseason and everything like that. I feel like they're just trying to do too much in already a long season.
Right. And I think that, so first of all, my answer in the yay or oy vey to this is I am going to go, initially I was kind of oy vey about it, but after seeing it, I think the players are playing hard. I am going to go with a yay because, and this is, I think, where the NBA was going with it. Kind of to your point, Anna, is in the early season to keep the players engaged and to draw viewership. They did the end season tournament they gave them financial, although $500,000 to the top earners is nothing. If you're a guy who's a two-way player with the G League team, Amani Bates or whatever it is, $500,000 is a lot of money. You're doubling your salary for the year or whatever it is if your team wins the in-season tournament. So I think that in concept, it's good, but it's going to take a couple years to gain traction for people to fully understand it. As you said, Madison, the putting up something in the corner to give them to be able to show like, okay, Cavs need to win by have this many plus, and the Knicks need to have this many minus, or whoever it is that they're in the wild card competition, to get the last seed to go to the semifinals and semifinals and finals, etc. So that would be helpful. All right. So moving on, we're going to go a little more yay or oy vey here. A little holiday edition. We're going to kick off the Christmas season, the holiday season here. And my first yay or oy vey, I'll go to you, Anna. Are we going yay or oy vey? Artificial trees. Yay
Oh,
or oy
yeah.
vey?
We have an artificial tree up. They're just so much easier to maintain. I love them.
All
Yay.
right,
Yay.
there you go. Madison, are you an artificial tree person? Yay or oy vey?
I am an oy vey. I love a real tree. I got a real tree. I went at lunch 2 days ago because I was sad and I needed that happiness because I had meetings back to back to back. So we got one. It smells great, and we have the lights on there now because my internet went out last night. And what else was there to do but decorate the tree?
Real nice, real nice. Well, growing up in a Jewish household, I did not have a tree.
Yeah.
But my wife's family, not being Jewish, um, they had the real tree, and for my wife, it was actually she had allergy problems, and we would go down there to North Carolina, and within the first couple days, she'd start feeling awful because of her allergies to the tree, and then finally, they decided, all right, we're going to stop with the real tree, we're going to get the artificial, and for me, not because I have any preference of looking at it or taking care of it or whatever it is. I just feel like from an ease perspective, I got to go artificial tree all day. I'm going yay on the artificial tree because it's simple to put it up, take it down. You got the lights built into it nowadays with the fiber optics. You don't got to water it. You don't have to worry about pine needles all over the place. Yeah, that's too much work for me. I see what I like. I like my menorah. It's beautiful. It's electric. I don't even have to light candles. I am lazy. I am lazy. All right. So now, next up on Yay or Oy Vey is inflatables in your front yard, over the top decorations. Madison, will go to you first. Inflatables, yay or oy vey?
I guess I have to say oy vey because I don't have any. I'm
Okay.
not really opposed to them. Like, I think it's funny to watch my dog react to them when we walk by them in the neighborhood. So, like, but I don't have any, so I guess I have to say oy vey.
Well, you could say yay if you're like, these are great. I don't have any, but I think they're great. I mean, I'm not trying to twist your arm, but I'm just saying, just because you don't have them doesn't mean you can't be yay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them, but I'm not going out and buying them myself. I just I'll look at them.
All right, Anna, what about you? Yay or oy vey on inflatables?
I'm gonna say oy vey. I feel like most people don't just have one; they have way too many, and it looks atrocious. And I couldn't even imagine having to upkeep them. I feel like I'm just very traditional when it comes to Christmas decorations. And when I growing up, my dad put Christmas lights. I mean, we had the blow molds and everything outside, but I feel like that's just the inflatables because they have them for every holiday are just kind of an eyesore. So definitely oy vey.
All right. Well, I am going to go. I think that it's a fine line. In general, you can overdo it, right? But there are some fun ones. I do like looking at them when it's not overkill, and I like it better when it's in somebody else's yard because we don't have any of those. I would not personally buy any because I'm not going to waste my electricity on them. Because I'm also cheap, and no, but I will go with a yay on the inflatables because they're fun. They're fun. They're fun. So we're gonna go yay on that. All right. Lastly, but not leastly, Anna. Again, as we approach the Christmas holiday, get a beverage question in here. Eggnog, yay or oy vey?
Oh. If it's Hartzell's eggnog, which is very Cleveland specific, yay. Any other eggnog, oy vey. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Madison, eggnog, yay or oy vey?
I have had eggnog that I enjoyed. Is it something that I seek out? No, but I didn't hate it when I tried it, so I guess I have to say yay.
All right, fair enough. My former spouse, when we would be at her house around the holidays, they would have eggnog, and I tried it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. It wasn't not even the alcoholic eggnog, so I would try it, and I thought the flavor was pretty good, but the actual real eggnog, I've had it, with the alcohol, and I'm like, ugh, ugh, no bueno. No bueno. So I'm gonna have to go with a hard oy vey on authentic, true, real eggnog. That's not for me. So moving on now from our yay or oy vey segment, and I should ask you, this, as you said, Anna being in Indiana and then being in
Mhm.
Cleveland, now being in Columbus. How's the because I always like talking about this. How's the food scene down there? Found your any favorite spots?
Um, so we definitely love trying all the local places. We already have found a good local pizza spot near us. Fantastic pizza. We're both supreme pizza lovers, so they're very generous on the toppings, like fresh, big, vegetables, pieces of, sausage, whatever. We love it. There are definitely some amazing restaurants, so there's plenty more that I know that we haven't tried yet. So definitely looking forward to it. I definitely am missing some of my sweet spots from Cleveland. I haven't found any down here yet. Brunettes, diehard Brunettes fan. The best donuts in Cleveland. I will die on that hill. And then there is a local sweet shop. She does cupcakes, macarons, cookie sandwiches. I love those. And I still obviously follow them on social media. So I see them, but I just don't have easy access to them. So trying to find a local shop here. But we did order a pie from a local lady who does baked goods out of her home, and it was fantastic. And we also did dinner roast through her. So I'm like, Matt found her just searching, and she was literally 5 minutes from us. So I went to pick up that stuff the day before Thanksgiving.
Nice, nice.
So.
Now, did you guys do did you do the traditional pumpkin pies for Thanksgiving?
We did a pumpkin caramel pecan pie, and it was fantastic. Um, it was really good because she had several different options, and we were just drilling over all of them because all the photos looked really good. But that was definitely really good. So yeah.
Nice. Madison, did you guys do any pumpkin pies down there?
We did. I'm not a big pie person, but I won't name names, but only one person in my family really partook in the pies. And if you dare go near them, it was like the end of you. So,
Well, I know dogs like pies. You're right. I understand. No, seriously, you want to talk about dogs liking pies, which I do, of course, is my our one dog. It was my wife's dog. When we met, her dog Angel. She was a pit lab mix, and Emily got me a banana cream pie for my birthday, and it was on the counter. And I walk in the kitchen, that dog is up on the counter, and the tongue's coming out. Trying to eat my pie. I'm like, hey, off my pie. And then I also had a dog, our friend's dog, a big lab. We think it might have been a lab Great Dane mix. His name was Simpson. He was awesome. He took my steak.
cool.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was no good. That was no good. All right. So moving off the food topic here. Lastly, but not leastly here, as is the title of the program, Going nuCLEar, give an opportunity here to tell everybody what has you going nuCLEar this week, sports or otherwise related. Anna, if you have one, I'll let you go. If you want me to let Madison can go first. You can follow her, whichever you prefer.
I really think the only thing that has me going nuclear is just being sick. This is the first time in 4 years I've been sick, and of course it's COVID. So definitely very grateful for my health, and I can't wait to be back on the other side of this and feeling better. So it's just driving me crazy. I hate, I missed 2 days of work this week, and 2 days this week that I was at work already. I wasn't there full days because I just couldn't get through the days. So it just has me very frustrated. I hate being confined to being home. So yeah, just frustrating, but just being very thankful that, I'm feeling like I'm slowly getting on the up and up with it. So
Understandable. All right. Madison, why don't you tell us what has you going nuCLEar?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've mentioned it before on the show, but I am developing an app. I'm going through a company to develop the app. It got handed over to me finally last week. And I could not log in because the like authentication email never kicked off. And so raised some red flags. There was also an incorrect splash screen, raised some additional red flags. I'm like, did you guys do any testing or is it all on me? And so I finally got in the app today, and now I'm bricked out of the app because I tried to do a feature that they said was available, and it has given me a white screen that I cannot get rid of. I uninstalled, reinstalled, still a white screen. So they're working on it, but I think it's just like, like I have requirements written out. They also missed the main purpose of the app. It is about restaurants and stuff from social media and actually saving them in a place you'll realize. So we can talk after. We'll talk after. But you can't use it yet because obviously we have a lot of problems. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's just like, I write it out. It's very explicit. I think it's very clear. I think I did a pretty good job. And like you missed the sole purpose of the application. And you gave me a feature I didn't even ask for. So I would prefer to get what I asked for if I'm going to spend the amount of money I spent to get that app developed. So that is what has me going nuCLEar. Although I trust they will fix it, hopefully.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd be pretty perturbed if I gave somebody anybody in the service industry, you give them money to do a job and then they don't do it correctly. That's a bit frustrating. I got you there. All right. So what has me going nuCLEar is a general and a specific. It's Budinsky's in public places. Okay? Mind your business. Mind your business. So the other day I go into the CVS to pick up a prescription. I go there after work. I walk in. Anyway, I see someone sitting down, and then I see an older person with a shopping cart. I said to the person sitting down, I said, "Are you in line?" No. I said to the person standing with his cart, I'm like, "Are you in line?" Well, she said, "Yes, I am." So the way the line works, she's not even like in the line inside the kind of designated area. She's standing back. I'm like, "What are you doing?" So I must have made a facial expression of kind of disbelief of, "What are you doing?" And this clown sitting over here decides that he's got to get into this. Yeah, that's the line. That's the line. I'm like, I was taken aback, and I just wanted I so badly wanted to tell him to shut his pie hole and mind his business because I just felt like it wasn't his play. I didn't say anything to her, and just because I'm frustrated and I might have been, made a facial expression doesn't mean you need to say anything to me. You need to mind your business because if I was a different person, if you mouthed off, that might have caused a problem. And that's just kind of where we're at. I see people like, even, I watch myself. I'm not going to, like I said, I bit my tongue, but yeah, you got to mind your business. You really do. And so what has me going nuCLEar this week are Budinsky's. Know your role and shut your mouth. So that is what has me going nuCLEar this week. And that is going to do it for this week's edition of Going nuCLEar. I want to thank Anna for joining us and hope you feel better soon. This was a pleasure having you, and you are always welcome here. Madison.
Thank you so much.
And Madison, as always, a pleasure. And hopefully they fix your app soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we can only hope. We can only hope so. And hopefully we will have we can start the weekend off correctly here. Maybe Cavs can put things in the right direction with a win tonight over Portland and carry the momentum into the weekend. And we'll all wait and see what Sunday has in store for us with whomever, most likely Joe Flacco, under center and going forward. And with that, we bid you adieu. So for Madison Delaney, for our guest Anna, I'm Ethan Greenberg. You have been watching Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land.